For the longest time, I was stuck in this pattern that honestly almost made me quit coding altogether. And this isn't just another list of productivity tips. This is my story, the real story of how I broke free from that cycle of overthinking and finally started actually shipping code. So yeah, this was me. I'm Abhijit, and I'd get this massive rush of excitement for a new project, especially with cool stuff like Gen AI or web dev. You get that feeling, right? Like you can build anything. But for me, that feeling never lasted. It would just curdle into this anxiety, and ultimately, it would lead to a whole lot of nothing.
I was completely trapped in this loop. It started with that big idea, that excitement, but then that would lead to days of planning. And let's be honest, it was just me watching tutorials and endlessly researching the best way to do things, which of course led to total analysis paralysis. I was so overwhelmed by all the choices, I just couldn't start. I'd end the day having written maybe a few lines of code, but I'd lie to myself and say I was productive because I'd thought about it so much. It was a complete lie.
And man, I spent so long beating myself up over this. I just thought I was lazy or undisciplined. But here's the thing I learned. That wasn't it at all. The problem wasn't some personal character flaw. It was something way, way deeper. Something that started long before I ever wrote my first line of code. The real issue, the root cause, was that my brain was trained for a world that just doesn't exist in software development. Seriously. All those years of traditional school had wired my brain to think in a way that was actively sabotaging my progress as an engineer. And this right here, this slide just nails the conflict. On one side, you have the exam brain. This is what school teaches you. It screams, you have to memorize everything perfectly before you can do anything. It makes you feel like using Google is cheating and every mistake is a failure. But the engineering brain, the one you actually need, it works the complete opposite way. It learns by doing things badly at first. It sees references and documentation as essential tools, not cheat sheets. And it knows that mistakes aren't failures, they're literally the main way you learn. And you can feel this conflict every single day, right? I'd feel this wave of guilt every time I had to look something up or ask ChatGPT. I had this idea that real developers just typed everything from pure memory. I'd make pages and pages of notes just like I was studying for a final exam, but they were totally useless. I was trapped by this need to be perfectly prepared, which basically meant I never actually got started building anything. So this constant battle between how I thought I should be learning and how development actually works, it just took a huge emotional toll. It was this daily fight happening inside my own head, and I was losing. And these were the thoughts that were just on repeat in my brain. I felt like a total fraud, like I was just stitching together pieces I found online. I felt hopelessly behind AI tools that could just spit out perfect code. There's even a name for it, scaffold dependence guilt. That feeling that you're not a real developer because you're leaning on frameworks and tools. And all of this just feeds that monster we call imposter syndrome, that constant nagging fear that you're about to be found out. But then, I had a breakthrough. The moment I realized that these feelings, this messy, confusing, guilt-ridden struggle, wasn't a sign that I was failing, but was actually a normal, expected part of the journey, everything started to change. This is the ugly middle phase, and I promise you, almost every single developer goes through it.
Okay, so understanding the problem is one thing, but fixing it is something else entirely. I needed a practical system, a playbook, really, something that would force me out of my head and into the code editor. I needed some hard and fast rules that value doing over thinking.
This one rule was an absolute game changer. The only goal for my first version of anything became one simple question. Does it run? That's it. Not, is it clean? Not, is it scalable? Just, does it work at all? Because perfection can wait. Done is so much better than perfect. So before I even allowed myself to go to Google or watch a single tutorial, I had to do something first. I had to open my code editor, create the files, and write a simple to-do list right there in the comments. It sounds small, but this simple act completely switched my brain into builder mode before researcher mode had a chance to take over and ruin everything. To kill that endless planning habit, I started using a timer. I gave myself exactly 10 minutes to think and plan. That's it. When the timer went off, another one started for 50 minutes of pure coding and execution. No more research, no more second guessing, just go. It was the only way to contain my overthinking and force me to prioritize actually writing code. This one's critical. Just pasting code from Stack Overflow or somewhere else builds zero muscle memory. So I made a hard rule for myself. Always retype every single snippet. And then I had to intentionally change something about it. Yeah, it's a little slower at first, but it moves you from just passively learning to actively understanding. It's how the patterns actually start to stick in your brain.
This might have been the biggest mindset shift of all, changing how I defined work. I completely stopped measuring my day by the hours I spent studying. Instead, I started measuring it by what I actually built. At the end of the day, the only question that mattered was, what did I ship today? And if the answer was nothing, then I didn't really work, no matter how many hours I sat in my chair.
I also completely changed my habits around notes and revision. I threw out those useless school-style notes and replaced them with a simple devlog. What did I build? What broke? What did I learn? My revision became rebuilding old projects to see if I could do it faster and better. And most importantly, I finally gave myself permission to accept that needing references isn't a weakness. It's the necessary bridge you have to cross to become an independent developer. So, adopting this new system, this playbook, it didn't just change my habits. It fundamentally changed how I felt about myself and my work. The guilt and the anxiety, they just started to fade away, and they were replaced by something I honestly hadn't felt in a long, long time: real confidence. And the results, well, they were real. My development speed easily doubled, maybe more, just because I wasn't stuck in those endless planning loops. My confidence was now based on a portfolio of things I had actually shipped, not on how many tutorials I'd passively watched. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I was actually enjoying the process of coding again. The stress was just gone.
And this is the ultimate truth that I had to learn the hard way. In the real world, nobody cares how perfectly you plan something inside your head. They care about what you can deliver. Your value comes from consistently shipping code, even if it's messy at first. That is what turns a beginner into a real, hireable developer. So if you see yourself anywhere in this story, I want you to think about this for a second. Which part of this vicious cycle feels the most familiar to you? Is it the analysis paralysis? Is it that guilt you feel over Googling something? Let me know in the comments. Because just recognizing the trap you're in, that's the very first step to breaking free.